What's up, guys? I'm Jay,
I'm Christy.
and this is the Trading Floor Podcast, Season 2, Episode 8. And we wanted to bring on Jeremy here. We'll be bringing on Navy in Part 2, but we've been hearing a lot from the community that you want to hear more about member stories of success and how they're doing it through their trading. And so we're hearing you, and we're bringing it to you now.
Hello, guys.
So a lot of you guys probably do know Jeremy from the community. He's a pretty vocal chatter in the chats, pretty much in all of them, I think, and has been around for quite a while. But has also been doing well all along, has been growing. So we finally were like, all right, let's bring him on. Some of you guys may have met him in the 24-hour extravaganza that we did because Jeremy was in a few of those as well. But we figured it was time to give him a solo act here on the podcast, and he has agreed to do it. Has also been doing like a lot of stuff with Strategy Wars, which we can talk about in a little bit when we bring on a second guest, a little friend of yours. Here we have a new trading couple
The
that we'll
new
be introducing
dynamite
you guys.
duo of TTF.
Yes. So you guys will be meeting his perfect match, his twin flame, as I like to call them. Anyhow, but you guys will be meeting them as well. And kind of like talking a little bit more about Strategy Wars because all of us are hoplites except for Jay, the trader. Like not a trader, the traitor of the group here, and who is fixing the
Irrelevant
lead
news.
right now. Who's fixing the lead in Outback? I'm convinced. But nonetheless, the hoplites will all be on here, and so we can talk a little bit about that, about your guys' experience, and you guys can chat a little bit since you guys, I'm sure you would love to catch up a little bit on camera because But anyway, we'll get into that later. So let's like get to know a little bit more about you, Jeremy, and find out like your backstory. I want to know, how did you get into trading, and where are you at now with all of it? So give us like a little one over on you, and then after that, we can maybe see a little bit from you, like markup style about like what is it that you're actually doing in order to get the success that you've been having.
Okay. Um, so I started trading. I grew up really financially illiterate, like a lot of people in my country do. Grew up pretty poor, and I wanted to find.
To be clear, he's also from the US, so that's okay.
Yeah,
He's not insulting anybody
Yeah,
here. We have
no,
all agree, have all said that we have not really been taught those things in school.
it's true.
You're taught what you are meant to go into career wise, but like they don't really teach you the finance thing. So I
yeah.
100% agree with that statement.
Our economy is based on workers, not like kind of workers, not creators. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I was looking for like an online business, and I kind of got into trading. Kind of, I was gambling with crypto. I was really into the crypto space. Made a really lucky bet on Bitcoin. I got in at like the $800 level, got out a year later at like 7,000. That same year, I think it like doubled that, and I was kind of sad about that. But that was my first exposure to like a trading kind of, and I kind of went into the crypto scene and started gambling my way into nothing real quick. Bought in on things like Safe Moon that didn't age well, and
Shit
other
coins. All the shit
yeah, a
coins.
lot
That's
of
okay.
shit coins. I like to gamble on the shit coins when I started.
Fair.
Um, I realized that what I was doing isn't sustainable, and I really wanted to build wealth. I tried to, in between, I tried to start a separate online business. I won't really get into that. Failed miserably. So I started looking up like actually how to trade. Like there are people out there that are trading. Found some YouTubers, pretty famous YouTuber. I'm not gonna name anybody else, but I bought their course. Didn't find enough value in it. Like the information was already readily available online, so I felt like I wasted money. Kind of felt burned or scammed. It turned me off a little bit, but I continued to do my research. I thought I found consistency on um like on a 5 minute chart doing like a specific supply demand thing. It wasn't really working out too well. Gave up for a little while because I got down about the money I was losing and stuff like that. I went live right away. Like I did the worst
Oh,
possible. I took money out of my
no.
savings and went live with it, and then did that risk 1%, right? I was very tactical in that regard. Like always have a stop loss, risk 1%,
Okay.
but you don't risk 1% or live right away. Don't do that. I did, lost a lot of money, and then I got emotional. Would risk more than 1% sometimes out of anger. Would move my stop loss out of anger. Would capture all the classic mistakes that we all make. Ended up losing a lot of money. I found my way to a previous community over time as I was kind of trading. You guys were a part of that community. I found consistent with a strategy that my first consistency ever was with a strategy that you, Christy, had made. Am I allowed to name the name of the strategy? It's similar to Happy Trail. It was similar to Happy Trail.
Oh,
Oh,
Superstar.
yeah,
Yeah,
Superstar.
Superstar. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if I could name it.
Superstar, it's all my stuff. You can name it.
Okay, okay,
It's all
cool,
content
yeah.
that it belongs to me. A Superstar, just for those of you who weren't part of that, is like the Happy Trail now. Happy Trail though is actually, we've already talked about this, so this is no secret. I'm actually working on the revamp of it because Happy Trail, I find with the way the markets have changed and the way that the signals are printing, just like are a little bit slow for me
Yeah.
compared to what Superstar was. So it's actually all being worked on currently. Hopefully in April, the release of the version 2 will come, which will be in my dream version of this will be a scaled down, much easier, one screen version, one signal, maybe two, but I'll explain that in the later parts when we actually go over the strategy. But anyway, yes, it would be Superstar again, but it won't be called Superstar. It's just Happy Trail now. But yeah, that's okay. You can name that. That is mine. That belongs to me.
Okay,
But
cool,
yeah,
cool. Yeah, that was
but that's exciting. I love Superstar. Everyone knows
yeah.
that like Superstar was like one of my favorites. Like it was an oldie but a goodie for me. So definitely one of my faves.
Mad love for it too. I passed the first prop firm. I at this time I had lost. I don't count, but more than 10 different challenges of different prices and everything. I was not doing well. I don't know
uh,
why I kept throwing money at this. There's demo, right? So
yeah.
everyone knows my mistake. Please, please, please take demo seriously. Um, I found that consistency, but upon passing a pretty large amount, I made other mistakes and got emotional, never made it to payout. It took a long time. I had joined TTF. I had learned that the most important part about trading is making sure that you don't jump in the market anytime you see an opportunity because you're exposing yourself to more risk and always cut your losses quickly. The idea is to lower your risk, right? You want to preserve your capital as you grow it. When I really learned that, I started forming consistency when I joined TTF. I joined TTF, I think pretty much day one. Like I popped over to it. Um, really loved your guys' teaching and stuff like that. And I just built consistency through you guys, the community, myself over time by just sticking to risk management and only learning to take qualities that have proven themselves to me, right? I had to test these for real. I was lazy about the testing. I would
Mm,
forward test only. And
yeah.
a couple weeks of forward testing.
Forward test on live, right? Forward test on live
Yeah. Yeah.
on your
No.
on your challenge account that
Hey,
you already bought and signed up for. That's
Yeah.
what you're forward testing.
Chris, two wrongs make a right. Okay. Like, obviously, it's just
Yeah.
science.
Yeah.
We're all
So
guilty of
obviously, I
it,
was a
but it's
very
No.
intelligent trader. Okay, I started out super, super smart. Definitely made all the right calls.
uh,
But I slowly found consistency, and I did wisen up. I decided to stick to demo and back testing. FTMO offers free trials that they give you your stats at the end of it. Very useful. Passed a bunch of those after a while, and eventually I see the way you trade, Christy, so just kind of give you props. And the other two founders, Artie and Brutus, they trade really well. I'm not knocking their trading, but you have a technique, or not a technique, an ability that I really appreciate to jump in the market. Kind of, it doesn't matter the phase or the indicator, you can read the market really well and get in and out correctly,
yeah.
right? Often. And that's kind of my goal. I don't care what the market's doing. I don't care what indicator I'm using at the time or where I'm at. I want to be able to see what's happening with price and get in and get out and get my money. So that was kind of my goal, and I really worked on that. And I learned how the market phase kind of works and how to identify a leg of a trend. Got really consistent, and now I've passed, I don't know, eight, nine. I just passed,
Awesome.
I think, my ninth challenge
I know
phase.
I saw.
Light work.
Congratulations, by
Yeah,
the way. Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah,
We did see that in there. So that's awesome. That's
yeah.
huge. Yeah,
It
I think
it's
my question for you is not to make this like a prop firm thing, but obviously people that's a big goal of people. It's like they want to talk to real people beyond just like me, like who have passed prop firms. And my question for you is, after passing the first few of them, did you feel that the mindset part of it, the psychology of it, while it is a little bit tormenting still, that I think everybody can agree that never goes away, like the pressure that you kind of feel. But did you feel that, like, as you got more advanced into your amount of prop firms that you have passed, did you find that, like, that pressure was a little bit lessened for you, where you're like, all right, maybe it's just not going to be this month, like no big deal? Or were you still like on the edge? Because I'm always curious to know how people feel about this. Like, did that idea of like, well, I know I have the skill, I know I've done it before, like I can do it again, it just might not be this month? Or were you still making some big mistakes where you're like, damn, like I should be better than this by now?
The
I'm just
simple answer
wondering.
is yes. Like I got way more comfortable in my ability as a trader. And so what happens, I think, prior to that is when you fail or something like that, it defines you inside. Like you're like, oh man, I'm not good enough. I'm still not ready. But once you realize that you're profitable consistently, it changes the narrative to, oh, I messed up. I messed up on that.
Yeah.
And I think that helps. I do. So what I'd like to say on that subject, I'm glad kind of you brought that up, is that the more you experience something, the easier it is to become numb to it. So for example, a loss is nothing to me now. A single loss literally doesn't affect me at all. I go to
Yeah.
sleep, I'm fine. A string of losses affects me much less now, right? It's not, it doesn't, if might get upset or something like that, but I'm not going to be sweating all day, not able to focus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just a frustrating thing. And then a losing of an account, which I have done in the time that I've passed all these, is a lot more frustrating because it's not something that happens as often, right? I don't encounter
Yeah.
it as often, so it hurts worse. But all of those things I can now bounce back from no problem. That's the main difference is that when I do feel those feelings, I know it's time to step out of the market, don't do anything rash. And when I come back, clean slate, I keep doing the same things, and consistency just follows along with it. There are bad months. January was a terrible month for me. It happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my confidence, I don't think can be struck down now. Like I'm very
Yeah.
comfortable trading.
It's
So
like, you
yeah,
know, you built that skill. I feel I'm kind of similar in that, and I think people think like I'm very casual sometimes when I like take a loss, or like, which I mean, like, to be fair, like I don't have too many losses at this point. And I don't want to say I don't lose. I do lose. Like, oh, that sounds so like bad. But like, if it, like you said, like, it just doesn't affect me because I'm just like, all right, whatever, I took the loss. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And then like losing the account, like you said, again, that does kind of suck. But more than anything, I get mad about my time, like more than the account. I know other people
Yeah,
like start to
same.
get like pissy about like the money. You look at like, oh, I lost money. But I get mad that I'm like, man, what a waste of 2 months, like, or 3 months, or however long, like you might, and you're like, oh, and I got to do it all over again. Like,
that's
that's more of the irritation. Because I think I know now I have the skill to pass it. And even if it's not that month or like a free retry, you're like, oh, all right, I got another month. I got like, great, I got to retry it. And I know these are all like very minuscule problems for most people who are taking firm challenges. But like, I do feel like you do get to that point when I talk to other consistent prop firm traders where the pressure to keep the account is there. Obviously, you don't want to be losing accounts all the time, but having the knowledge to know that, like, or the I guess the confidence to know that you have that skill, that like, okay, it's not that I suck at trading or that I'm messing up all the time, or if you are messing up, taking that accountability where you're like, oh, I really messed up and botched this account, like shouldn't have done that. Just kind of like that kind of aspect of thinking. I think that really kind of shows in more experienced like traders, or traders who are starting to progress in their career, especially with funded ones who have like held onto accounts for a while, or a few of them. It really does show. And I was curious how you are handling that, because I'm always interested with the people who have had multiple accounts for a while now, how it's going. Also worth noting for you, I do believe, and I don't know if you still are, but I do believe you are a VIP trader, which
True.
is fancy,
Yeah.
which is
yeah,
congratulations.
yeah.
For those of you who don't know what that means, basically it means that he's been holding onto an account and been consistent for, I think it's
Four
over three
months.
months, 3 months,
Four,
four
yeah,
months,
4 months, yeah,
Yeah.
minimum.
4 months. And then you can, get entered into this VIP category of traders where you can actually ask for your payout like immediately.
So,
There's just some perks to it, but it just goes to
Fancy.
it goes to show when you are a VIP trader that obviously you've held on to this account for a little bit, so clearly you know what you're doing. So with that
yeah.
being said, I would like
Also,
to,
Well,
huh?
actually,
Oh,
Actually, first off, what I want to ask
yeah.
you, Jeremy, is when was the point? Because I know now that you had recently quit your job because now you're able
Oh,
to
yeah. I'm
do like
curious
make
about
more
this.
money in trading, and you also have some side things. But when between the 17,000 prop firms you passed already, when was the point where it's like, okay, I can make this transition now? Like, did you set like goals like I want to be able to meet like this, and this before I can make this like next step of switching like strictly into trading and kind of, I guess, entrepreneurship? I don't really like that word, but kind of what it is. But when was that like the goals you set and how'd that go about?
So I have a family, so I'm
I was
very
gonna say, I was
meticulous.
gonna say, let's talk about your actual background situation. I didn't know if you wanted to really get into this, but let's, because I think this is a little bit easier for people to identify with if they actually know your background story. We know it,
Oh, that's
but
fair. Yeah, yeah.
I think,
Um,
yeah,
I have a family, and also we're moving at the same like
Oh,
they are actually moved already. Everyone but me and my oldest daughter. So I'm very meticulous. I don't actually like to take risks. Like even coming into the world of trading and scaling back on work was a lot for me because I don't like to take any risks. I'm like a all index fund every day aggressive investor and do it the safe way, not speculation. I mean, like I said, I got into the crypto thing, but not like
yeah,
large
kind of
portions of my
bizarre.
cash.
Like if
Well,
you gave me two different stories here, but that's fine.
I used small portions of the cash that I made for that kind of thing. Like I'm very I always do my research, even when I do make a gamble. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna spend 50% of my income on this type
yeah,
of stuff, maybe like 5%, right? And
Okay.
so I don't want to, basically, my thing is I don't want to risk my kids' well-being. So what I did is I built up a lot of either passive income and also a fund in case something went wrong for a while to make sure that nothing could happen, right? Nothing like if I wasn't making money or if I lost some money and I had to go back to work or something like that, we'd be fine. So when I got to that point, I also wanted to make sure that I could make money trading. So I needed both those conditions. When I was able to pass, I think like three or four challenges in a row, right? I decided I'm I'm not gonna lose the skill all of a sudden. And also, if I come to a point where I don't understand the market anymore, I can just learn what the market is doing. I now
Yeah.
understand how to trade. So at that point, all of my necessities like food, gasoline, and all that. Not, I'm not rich. My passive isn't like paying a good lifestyle, but all my necessities are covered. So when I got to both of those points, I was like, I'm ready to focus on the trading and not worry about work anymore. That's not to say I don't actually plan to work in the future, but that's a different thing. Um, when I got to that point, and that was about September last year, so it wasn't even all that long ago, I decided it's time to focus on trading. And since then, I've had enough payouts to increase my nest egg and stuff like that. I will say for traders, a lot of people think, oh, I pass a prop firm. Let's say, I think my Forks Funds offers up to 300,000 in one go.
mm-hmm.
They think I pass a prop firm and I'm set for life. It doesn't work that way in the world of money and finance, guys. You guys also have to remember you have to use the money that you make from that because trading is an inconsistent thing. You got to build something up. So even if you don't have your own nest egg now, I would say before you quit your job, at least save a nest egg of like 6 months or more before you even consider quitting your job because the pressure of I need to make these trades to make money, even if you're already consistent, is a heavy pressure to have especially if you have a family.
We have
So
said that multiple
That's
times
the number
in
yeah,
one
this
reason why
podcast.
people fail like prop firms is just like the I
The
need to
have
pass this
to.
prop firm for money is just like that is just one thing that you can control that you can just get out. Like just
yep,
get out of that situation. And like I feel like once you like I feel like in your situation, Jeremy, like if you because your passives kind of were before you passed the prop firms, right?
yeah,
So like you didn't have well, you still working too, but like you were working and you also had passive. So it's like you weren't really in that psychology of like, I need to pass now. But I mean, you want to pass now, sure.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's just like if I don't pass this, like this is money for like food or like
It's
living,
like your
you know,
well,
it's
like your house.
Well,
Like I can't afford
well,
my
yeah,
mortgage. I can't afford to feed my child. Like those have to, like I've seen some messages people say like I can't afford to send my kid to school. Like you like are literally taking all of your life savings that you do have, that little bit you might have, and throwing it at these prop firms. And that is where I say do not do that. You are gambling now on a chance that you may pass. And like, that's really, really risky. You shouldn't put yourself in that position because that pressure is going to mess you up. One loss, even though one loss normally might feel like nothing to you, when you have to make money and you have to do something and you can't not do it. Like so much is on the
Well,
line. No way are you going to do well. I wouldn't do well. Like, you know what I mean? Like I
No,
kept
yeah.
working through it. You know, you kept working and I commend you on being responsible enough and like financially savvy enough to know like, yeah, it's not a good idea to just like throw everything away and just like trade, you know? So,
before anyone thinks that
kudos to you.
I'm in like a situation where it's like, oh, easy for you. It was a lot of pressure at first because even though sure my current finances are mostly covered, I was like I said, I was in the middle of moving. And if you guys don't pay attention to the housing market, this moving started at
Crazy.
the beginning of last year. The housing market has skyrocketed in that time. So I was still in a situation where I did need to be able to make money before I just left my job. I couldn't transfer down to the States. So I mean, I wasn't under that I need it right now, but I still had that same
Yeah.
pressure for me. I couldn't just take off and do this
Yeah,
without seeing that money come in. You know, there's nowhere to go. Nobody's gonna approve a home loan without some consistent income and stuff. So um
exactly.
yeah, there was definitely that. And yeah, I agree, man. You really have to plan this out. And when you go into a challenge, you have to go in with the mindset that the time and the money don't matter. You
Mm.
have to ignore that. You have to have an edge that you just execute and just execute the edge and ignore the other stuff. I know it's hard, but you
Yeah.
have to do that to get that off.
And I
But yeah,
know, I want to just say, I know they put the time limit on you. So it's hard for us to be like, no, don't worry about the time. But at the end of the day, if you are just focusing on being profitable and like just focusing on your thing, all you need is to just be in profit to get the free retry. That month
Sure.
might not have been your strategy's month, but the next month may be. And like, that's kind of the other thing I find a lot of people will get frustrated. They might make only 4 or 5%, and then they're like, oh, this is trash. And it's not trash. It just might not have been the best month for your system. And then you get the free retry though. So again, putting that like time frame on yourself like really can stress you out. I'm going to use Jay and I'm going to call him out here on this example actually. Sorry, Jay. But Jay actually, another congratulations, just passed another prop firm. So we got two prop firm people who just passed. But
So
Jay almost took the full 60 days on phase two. Obviously, we were super busy and we were
yeah,
working through strategy wars, which like there were a lot of days where he just couldn't trade due to things that he was working on because he also works. I do make him actually work. So
imagine
he
like
he does work. Well, Jay
no.
like acts like, I will agree to disagree on whether I think he works a real job or whether he thinks he does. But anyway, so anyhow, but he, kudos to him because he did actually take the full 60 days. And like, Jay can even talk about it a little bit too. There's that little bit of pressure where you're like, I'm in profit. Do I risk it all? Do I not risk it? Like, what do you
Yeah,
do
it's
towards the
almost like
end?
a it's
Like,
almost like reverse psychology in phase two because I was like, oh, I got 2 months. Like I'll just trade whenever I can. And then it
yeah,
literally came down to like I almost forgot about the challenge. Like, oh, I'm on day zero. I need to do something. I need to do something
yeah.
about it. I was positive, so I was getting a free retry, but it was just the fact that it's like, let's just shoot. Let's shoot for this. And I was able to
You're
do
getting
it,
the free
which is
retry,
nice.
but the free retry sets you back to phase one. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
then
my
you're like,
free
well, now
retry.
comes
I was like, okay, well then at
yeah,
this point it's been 2 months, and I'm like, okay, well even if I lose the account or I get a free retry, I go back to phase one anyway, so I might as well try it. I'm down $500, but that account, I was like, I can ease 500 to me is I could just buy another one. It's fine. So at that point, it's like, why not try it? Like I'm in phase two, so
yeah.
I was able to do it.
Anyway,
Stuck
not
to
that you should risk
rules.
it.
Like did not
Yeah,
did
I was
not
gonna
YOLO
say
trades. Let me
he
make
didn't
let me make
YOLO
that
it. Let's
clear. I did my
yeah,
analysis, and you'll probably see it soon on a YouTube short actually. So stay tuned to that if you're on the TTF. But
yeah.
anyway, besides the point, let's actually get to your edge, Jeremy. So I want to actually see like your trading routine, whether like pre-trading wise, like what do you do? Do you check news? Do you do this? But like how do you go about kind of your normal day and like different strategies you might have or things of that nature? What is
Teach us
what
how to pass a
want to
prop
get
firm.
into your
Teach us
mind. Yeah, teach us
how did
how to
we pass
pass.
all these prop firms?
so
How
my edge
to.
actually evolved even more this year thanks to shout out to Sven and Jinx. They kind of showed me a little bit of something that has made my edge even stronger.
Oh yeah,
But
I'm
my
curious. I don't even know
yeah,
what it is.
I'll cover it. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Well, first of all, I want to say, because I know Christy is not a fan of like the SMC world. So I'm actually in the same boat. I'm an SMC trader who doesn't really like the SMC
Oh
stuff.
no,
I will
we're
say
all in agreement here.
Yeah.
I like SMC. I like the concept. I like put this way. I love the idea. Everybody should learn institutional trading. And I will call it institutional trading. I 100% agree. You are trading in a market where you are trading with big players, and the big players are your institutions. So to not know how they trade to me just seems dumb. Like you
Well,
should know how they trade, how do they move the market.
uh,
I'm very well aware I'm not an institution, that I'm a retail trader. So I understanding what they do. I want to know how to follow along with them. I want to know when to expect, what to expect when it gets to a certain level. Do I think SMC, the way that it's marketed now, or I can't call out the other
let
group,
me,
but you guys know who I'm talking about.
but
Do I think that they've taken these concepts and over marketed them? They've put some fancy words on them. I call it lipstick on a pig. I do. I do agree with that. But I love the idea of understanding the concepts and putting them into your analysis. I don't think it's a true actual strategy with just like a set system and it's that easy to just go in and like they love to show like 20 rewards with these tiny little stop losses. But if you took every single one of them, you'd be negative. So
Well,
like I could go on
let's
this rant
let's get
forever,
back
but
to
let's
Jeremy
yeah,
because
yeah,
I
get
let's
to
know
get back.
like
Okay.
Jeremy.
I
you
Yeah,
hit a really
I'm
I am
sorry, but
rediverting.
I
I'm
wanted to
rediverting
say
it, but go ahead.
with that in mind, the point of it is to make yourself feel more confident. I like to be in the market in a place where if my stop gets taken out, I'm not the only one. Other big money has been taken out with me. So it's
Exactly.
not that I'm a bad trader. I was wrong on the market or whatever. I mean, I was, but it happens. It's that the market didn't do what it presented
You're
itself
with
to do.
all the other liquidity sweeps that
Yeah,
got taken
yep,
out,
yep. And and
and
I'm
then you're like,
happy
oh,
with that.
yeah.
And that's the thing is so I use these concepts. Well, I've actually combined pretty much everything I've learned from you, from multi-time frame analysis, which multi-time frame analysis, guys, you
Oh yeah,
need in
I'll
your
chef's
life.
kiss that. Me and you can
Yeah,
agree on that one. Yeah,
yeah.
love it.
everybody
Uh,
should know that. Yeah.
yes. Multi-time frame analysis will change your life. If you're not using a higher time frame, you need to, just period. No matter what edge you're using, learn what the higher time frame is doing.
It will
And that's
always
really
help
what
your
it's
win rate.
about.
It will always help you bet like long term once you
Yeah.
do figure it out. Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I so every weekend, Sunday my time, I think it's like Tokyo Monday, around the like Tokyo Open. I get to my charts and I mark up like I'll look for the monthly, weekly, and daily, and I'm just looking for zones that we're near. Like if we're near any zones, I'll mark them up. Other than that, I'm really watching the daily, the 4 hour, the 15 minute, and the 1 minute. I like zoom between those. And what I'm really looking for is what is the phase of the market? Are we in an accumulation phase? Are we in a distribution phase? Right? Is the market trending up? Is the market trending down? That's it. And those are kind of the only phases I understand. If there's something else weird going on, I'm probably looking at a different market. I only look at three markets. I really kind of only trade two. The third one is a backup. I've not really used it. AU is my backup. I don't trade it. It's just there in case. I
What
the
are the
main ones
other
I
two?
trade.
I know you like the
Yeah.
dragon.
Yep. Yep. I was the biggest dragon trader, which is GJ for people who don't know. I love that it's called that. Actually, it's funny. The baby pips right there. Shout out. Uh yeah, I traded GJ for a while. I've actually recently switched to GU because of the spreads.
Mm, that's
But yeah,
fair.
GJGU slash like those are the same one and the same to me. I'll trade one or the other. And then DAX. I'm a big DAX because I trade London session and DAX is kind of like the London NAS, right?
Yeah.
It's the index for the London session to me. So I do my markups. Oftentimes I love a clean chart. Like I don't often like things on my chart. I'll mark them up for other traders. I like to eyeball the charts, honestly. So what I'll do is I'll get on the charts before London session and I'll look at the daily and be like, okay, what phase are we kind of in right now? All right. What leg is forming on the 4 hour? Do I want to wait for a pullback and get in on that pullback? Is it the pullback already happening? Do I want to wait for a continuation? And that's pretty much the simplicity of it. Then I zoom into the 15 minute and the 15 minute will tell me when that phase is happening, right? Because literally the 15 minute has to do its move before the 4 hour does its move. That's just logic. It's just how it has to go. There's 16 15-minute candles in a 4 hour candle and 15 1 minute candles in a 15-minute candle. So that's like the mindset
That's
behind
quick
it.
math.
Yeah. Math is kind of my thing, actually. I do my for
Okay.
people who ask me why I trade
Oh,
on my phone, because I trade on my phone. I was a physics nerd, and so math is nothing to me. I do my lot calculation straight on my
yeah.
head, and then
I'm guilty of this too. I've done it for so long that I like am pretty good at just like knowing what
Well, I will
I
say
should be at.
though,
But yeah, it's not a good thing to do for new traders. So like new traders, you should use your risk calculators for sure. Learn it, but eventually you probably will get fast enough to be able to do it, especially if you are like on a 15-minute time frame. Like you'll have time to mentally like you can compute it even on a calculator if you needed to. But if you are unsure and you're still not like you're still learning all of this and like how to do it, like you definitely should use a risk calculator for sure. But yeah, I do on my
plus
phone
to
too. I'm
be
a big phone trader too because I like to be able to like manage on the go. Um,
yeah.
but
Well, and to
I
be
understand.
transparent, I don't really use TradingView except for Strategy Wars. Like I'm just on MT4 now. I don't,
Oh,
like I said, I don't like to market my charts. So, I don't recommend just even if you're good with math or whatever, I don't recommend just jumping on your phone trying to trade. You don't really get the whole picture. The way our phones are designed,
yeah, yeah. It's
you
not
don't
good
really
to
get the full, yeah.
do
And
your
that can mess you
analysis
up.
on your phone is like every time somebody says that, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that's
Yeah.
like I don't know. You must have really good vision and like I don't know, like really good like dexterous fingers to zoom in and like I don't know how they do it. Like because I feel like I can't even get the indicators on there properly without messing them up. So kudos
true.
to all of you guys who are doing that. But yeah, that's helpful to know. So thank you for like explaining it. So you typically 15-minute you're like entering it on, but you're looking like 4 hour higher time frame.
Normally yeah, yep. Normally I enter on the 15 minute and I do not like to trade every day. Like Strategy Wars has kind of got me in the charts way more than I'm used to.
Mm.
Because of Strategy Wars, I like to get it on the 1 minute. So I fractal down from the 15 minute to the 1 minute. Um, it
You
also
didn't
has
pull a
been
J. You should have just did a J and found that one setup and held it for the entire month, and
I
that was
Shut up,
it.
G, you failing
I
me.
didn't have the balls, dude. I wanted to do that, and I even got an alert on a GJ short, and I didn't take it. I don't even know how it played out. I haven't
I
checked
mean,
it, but I just
you could have held it forever. Like we
I
allow it. It's funny because I am guilty of this as well. So even though I know I can hold, and I personally like the 15-minute as my entry time frame as well. That's my like comfort zone. I first season I learned really early on like shoot I have to go lower. So the 1 minute time frame became a bit of a learning challenge for me. So but I did it. I learned it, and then weirdly enough, it became like a comfort zone. So then it was kind of nice because I actually had like an extra strategy on days where I did need to get in and out quickly. Like if I was like, hey, I only want to sit on the computer for like the next hour or two, like I can let that go while I do messages or something. It weirdly became Jay knows it's like it became frustrating at first. I used to curse a lot, like because I didn't like watching my trades. That's why I know I'm not a 1 minute time frame trader, but I weirdly have become like kind of used to it as a second option, as an alternative, which
Then she went
has
to the
been
10-second because she
yeah,
was
I
nice.
was
like,
about
"This
to
is too,
I
yeah,
was about
this
to
is."
call you right on that.
I'm tired of getting used to the 1 minute. Let me just go to the 10-second time frame so I can get pissed off
Yeah.
again. So I was like,
Went to
oh, that makes
one
sense.
second. I went to 1 second. You guys challenged me every single lower time frame. And I was like, I don't know why I didn't just go to 1 second and be annoyed. That was torturous, by the way, though. I waited extremely patiently. And I also used a 15-minute time frame for that entry. So again, using a higher time frame, just using the lower time frame for like that sniper entry. But yes, kudos to you. Anyhow, getting back on topic, kudos to you for that. And I mean, I do love the idea of using a higher time frame analysis, and I really do highly recommend that as well. I think that most successful traders will tell you they do their analysis on multiple time frames. They may stick to one as an entry time frame, which it sounds like you like the 15. Maybe struggling a little bit in strategy wars. I'm sorry, but we allow you to hold. I don't know
Yeah,
why
yeah,
nobody takes
yeah.
advantage.
I want it.
What
I just,
Um,
I
yeah,
what I want
psychology.
to see now, and a lot of people probably want to see this, is if you don't mind, maybe like looking back at the past 2, 3 trades that you took and kind of giving your analysis on that. Because I mean, from what it sounds like, it's pretty simple, and everybody's gonna be like, "That's all you got to do." But I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot more than that because you
yeah.
actually have to like follow through with everything that you say you want to do. So
That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
I
do
mean, you just kind of made it sound like so. I look at the 4 hour and then I just go the direction of that, and
they're
like I
like,
enter it on
"It's this
15.
it.
easy?"
No
It
sweat.
has honestly become that simple, but yeah, it was a long
No, I
process.
know.
So let's see. Oh, I
I
can't.
totally, I can totally relate to what you're saying because I feel like people ask me a lot that, and they want to know exactly what you do. And like when I say what I do, they're like, you make it sound so simple. And there is a simplicity, and I think that is the more experience you become, the more you're doing this long term, like the more simple you really do look to make your system. You don't really care about all that clutter on your charts. It's actually extra noise, and it kind of tends to confuse you more. There is a beauty to the simplicity. I think that that's something that I could definitely stand by with you in that. But it becomes difficult to explain because your mind has learned so much that you're doing so much analysis that is like you almost have to like stop yourself when people like Jay and I are saying, "Can you come on now and explain to me exactly what you did?" And you're like, "Oh shoot, like what did I see?" Like you're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, so this is here and this is here," and like it does become a little bit more difficult. But if you could help some other people a little bit here, and you can include your SMC stuff. Don't worry, it's not a banned thing here in the podcast. So if you
Yes,
are using any SMC like characteristics or anything like that, like definitely feel free to go ahead and include it.
I do. I just don't like to. It's just terminologies, guys. Terminologies don't matter. The idea is you're looking for signs that the market is telling you it's going in a direction and that it's not likely to come back and visit another price before hitting your targeted price. That's just it. So whatever terms you guys want to use, it doesn't really matter to me. So let's look back on my last winner that I did the other day. So here's kind of how I look at the market. We know that a downtrend is formed, right? Like just taking all the terminologies out of it, we have a lower high, I mean, a lower low, and then it breaks the lower high, right? And then it takes that liquidity and comes down and then just completely takes all of that out. And that kind of confirms a downtrend. So we pull back, and that's the first leg. And I took an entry on that. We can go back and look at that one. But the next leg, can I move these out of my way? The next leg at that retracement level, right? That's my concept. What I'm looking for is on the market that I'm looking at. As you guys see, I kind of removed most of the fib levels. I just wanted to retrace at least in the golden zone. It could actually come all the way back to this supply area or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. It just needs to retrace at least. I don't take any entries that haven't had a deep retracement because I just don't like to get burned. It's not worth it to be impatient to me. So that happened, right? We had the pullback, and then you see a low formed, high,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lower low, and then that high was taken out, but barely, even though the low came out, and then it came back. So that confirms to me that the what the market is telling me is I know that the 4 hour is going to come back and then continue if the downtrend continues. This 15-minute entry is kind of confirming that for me, but I don't want to just take the breakout because that's kind of a wide stop. So what I want to see is it then to pull back, and that's where Strategy Wars has kind of got me into this. I want to see it pull back to the 1 minute and give me a signal, right? I want it to get near the level that I'm looking to get in a sell for, and it could have been anywhere along any of these areas, rejected off any of them. I wasn't looking for something specific. I just wanted it to take out these Asian highs and come down. It gave me that happy trail momentum. What happy trail does, I mean, Christy, you know, you made the thing. It
Yeah.
shows you that momentum is shifting in the market in a direction. So by itself, that doesn't mean anything. Momentum in the market moves all over the place. What matters is that momentum is shifting in my direction at a location that I am confident that the market is going to continue doing what it's doing. Now, as you guys can see, I didn't take the full leg. That was an accident. I actually posted it a testimony. I was eating at my computer, and because I didn't know what was going to happen at this low, we had a lot of fight. And sometimes the market likes to take like these zones and maybe it'd come back up, it'd trick people out and come back up. I was ready to close. I had my finger on the X. I spilled rice on my computer, hit the X. That's fine. It was a good trade. It was like a 3-ish R, 2.8 or something like that, 3 point.
Very
But
respectable trade. I don't know
yeah,
why you're minimizing
Yeah.
that trade. Like, that's still
yeah.
really
Is
good.
is the rice
Well, I was
spilling part of your strategy, or is that something new that you're testing out?
Do you like make
yeah,
comments in your journal? You're like
uh,
spilled rice. Like
yeah,
I feel like
still stuff.
used to do stuff like that. So it's like, yeah. But no, that's great. I mean, 2 reward, 3 reward, it's still nothing to be disappointed in, even if you closed it out early, like earlier than maybe you thought. But like, still good money at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. I'm happy with the trade. It's just I was aiming for like a 6R and it hit. So here's, as I said, I took that earlier leg. Another example, right? We had the. I guess I should have showed this one first, honestly, but we had that down move happen. So I was waiting for a pullback. Pullback happened to the golden zone, right? Then I want to see it. Oops. I want to see it confirm for me on the 15-minute, right? We have what SMC traders will call a change of character, but to me, I don't, again, don't care about terminologies. What I'm seeing is that the price itself, the number of the price, the data that we get as retail traders, the price level, that's it. All these candlesticks are representing price data. So the lowest price that it hit before coming back up was broken. That means the people, the institutions or the big firms or whoever has big money, the money that was put up here was strong enough to knock out the money that was up here. So I want to see it pull back and then again, I'm looking for 1 minute. We have this low, high, right? So this was the lowest low. None of this stuff counts to me. You see that broken, that broken. I want the low that broke the high. It got broken right here. This was not a happy trail entry. I just wanted to see it break. Now, there's two ways to do this. I know a lot of you guys who trade the 1 minute are like, that's a monstrous stop loss. There are two ways to do this. This day, I was busy when I got in the market. I had to go do something. If I don't want to watch the market, I will just get in on that level and use the 15-minute high that I said the money is in the market. So if I'm wrong here, so too is everyone else that has their money there. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. That means we were all wrong. And that 4 hour leg did not continue. I accept that. That's the market. So I set my stop loss up there and moved on with my life. If I can sit at the charts and watch the charts, I would wait after that breakout for a pullback to maybe get to these highs or take out these highs. So I would have probably taken something like that, nice tighter stop. But it doesn't matter. As you can see with that monstrous stop on the 1 minute as it looks, if you zoom out on the higher time frames, it's really not that big a deal. And calmly, and I was A-okay with this because another thing I noticed, new traders will be in a negative and then start wanting to close their trade or freaking out and stuff like that. I set my stop up here. So if the market doesn't visit up here, my trade is still valid. There's no reason to be afraid of drawdown in a trade. That's what a stop loss is for. And as you guys can see, I mean,
it's also worth noting, not to interrupt you, but it's okay to be in drawdown when you're like that because in your head, when you understand multi-time frame analysis, you were using a 15-minute markup, but you were just trying to get the 1 minute sniper entry.
Mm-hmm.
So the drawdown factor, I think, when you understand that and like in your head, you're like, yeah, like sure, I'm in drawdown, but like that's on one, like in your head, you're like, that's because it's the 1 minute, but like realistically, I'm on a 15-minute. So
yeah,
it's a little bit more understandable. The other thing that is also for those people who don't understand, just to give feedback on this, like your take profit is very much reasonable. Like your goal take profit here makes absolute sense with keeping what you're calling a monstrous stop loss. It looks monstrous, like you said, on a 1 minute, but in reality, your take profit looks gigantic. Yeah, your take profit looks huge too. It's still a good risk to reward ratio that you're going for. So so those people who might be looking at that and being like, yeah, I never would take a stop loss that big on 1 minute. It's you, as long as it's still within the right risk to reward ratio, that's fine. It's not like you were going for a one, like, well, you weren't keeping a 15-minute stop loss and then keeping a 1 minute reward level though. Do you know what I mean? So like that's where it would look really bad, where you'd be like, well, that's not a good idea to do. In this case, you're doing it perfect. Like I have nothing but respect for this trade here. Like I would have done the same type of idea here too. Like knowing that if you have to walk away, use your 15-minute level because that's the smarter, safer level to use here for a stop loss. And
I
mean,
also, if you guys can see, I didn't, even though my thesis was the 4 hour swing, again, liquidity in the market, anything can happen. I only aimed for that rejection because the market could pick back up in reverse. And that's like, if it was like a 1 or 2 R, I might have gone for the low. But because that was like a 4 point something R trade at the time, I was like, that's fine. Why not aim for that and call it good? So there's also a level in my personal trading of if it makes sense and can pay me enough, I'm okay with that. I don't have to get the full move. And I that has helped me be consistent because there are times when you're aiming for a low and the market just decides to come down to these zones and like, no, we're going up a different way, especially if news is coming and stuff like that.
There's a lot of money sitting there. It might be just enough that it doesn't need to go all the way to the bottom of that. So don't be greedy. That's the whole idea. I mean, don't be greedy. You took what you needed. Your reward was more than respectable enough of a reward. Take your money and just get out. That's what you want to do.
I agree. Don't tell yourself, oh no, I missed out on all that money. No, you didn't. That wasn't your analysis. You're
always missing out on
You're
money.
not going to
Moves
be
are
able to
always
get
happening.
everything in a move. Yeah, for
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
congratulations. These are very nice trades.
thank you. Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, those two trades are like the epitome of kind of how I look at the market. Like I said, I like to use the 15-minute usually and not the 1 minute, but Strategy Wars just kind of got me more into the 1 minute. Same as you, I
Sorry.
guess.
So we've created a bad habit for you, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. And while I'm
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
explaining,
It's
you
just
guys
a
do
fun way. It's a fun way to test your abilities.
What
you
I
guys
like about it for you, though, is that you kind of were in a little bit of a comfort zone here. And this kind of is like how I feel about Strategy Wars for myself personally. Like it kind of pushes you out of that comfort zone. So while we're joking about creating bad habits for you and all that, it kind of forces you to kind of like push your limits a little bit more as a trader who is already making money. You're already being profitable. So I kind of like that. Like I like that you're a little uncomfortable in the 1 minute. Like I'm
I
glad
love
that
it.
we're making you a little uncomfortable because like I said, I actually ended up finding a strategy out of it that I actually use now, like even during non-strategy war months. Like I truly do go to like the Stairmaster version I use if I'm like trying to get in and out of the markets for the day, like a little bit quicker. So yeah, I think it's kind of cool. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
I
my
agree. And my goal is to get, man, Christy downplays herself. My goal is to be able to see the markets that you do. You act like the 1 minute is some big thing, but I have seen you trade one and
well,
5 minutes plenty before. I
yeah.
don't know if they were like your main edge, but I've seen it. So
No, 15 minutes actually, my main edge. That's like where I was always the best at. So 1 and 5, 5 I could do. 5 is not that hard for me to do. 1 was like, I mean, Jay knows because Jay really had to listen to me through season 1,
True.
like right about 1 minute time frame where I was like, this is such a bad, like this is so stupid, like such a bad risk management and whatever, and like this is everyone's gonna overtrade. So it even taught me how to kind of be like, all right, like I need to look for quality entries because there's so many entries now coming up in a day on a 1 minute. Whereas on 15, you might get 1 or 2. So it was very easy for me to handle like the stimulation of the signals that were coming. On the 1 minute, I was like, wow, there's a lot of signals. There's a lot of stuff going on here. But what I did initially actually is what you did, where I kind of looked at my 15 minute because that was my comfort zone. So I was kind of like, all right, let me think like if I'm the 15 minute time frame, what would I have done here markup wise? And then kind of like scaled it down to 1 minute. And yeah, but anyway, I think you'll get there, Jeremy. But I'm excited to see you learn some multiple time frames and like be able to take this type of concept that you're doing and like apply it to any time frame. I
yep,
think you'll
that's
get
the
there.
plan.
It looks like you're doing really good with your like analysis and simplifying it, which I really love. I love that you're kind of keeping it simple.
So, just wrapping up this podcast now, what I want to actually know from you, Jeremy, is for the people listening to this who might be starting trading, looking to get into trading, or maybe even deep in the process who haven't figured out profitability yet. Like, what is your advice? Like, what should people focus on and things of that nature?
I think the number one thing that you need to focus on is testing your edge, whatever it may be, looking at something that happens in the market and then testing it and editing that. Do not slouch on the data, right? You need that confidence to back you up, and do not get discouraged, right? I think that the number one failure in traders is the fact they give up. They're like, this is actually hard work. I didn't realize it was going to be so hard. And they give up. Just don't give up. Just keep testing your edge. Don't go live. Take demo very seriously. Don't give yourself excuses. Don't tell yourself that it was the market that did this. You're the one that pulls the buy and sell button, and keep testing until you've proven to yourself that what you're doing can pay for your life in whatever X dollars that takes to do so. That's really it.
I 100% back you because everybody asks me about back testing, and it's like you need to test to where you're trying to prove the pair wrong. Like you're not
Yeah.
like you want it to fail. That way you can move on to the next one to see what does good. It's not like you're trying to
How
just
You
test the
want to
test.
interview it. You're like interviewing
Yeah,
it. You're like, will you work for me? And then you're like, if you're not going to work for me, somebody else might. And then you keep moving on to the next one. And I
exactly.
don't know. You just
It's an
want to make
interview
sure it,
process.
yeah, you need to prove the edge, like you're saying. We say this all the time. We always talk about data and back testing. So you're right up our alley on this. But I'm glad that you are reinforcing it again as a real life trader who is profitable, saying like, hey, I didn't do it. I messed up. I should have been doing it. Probably would have been here a lot sooner if I had. Like, that's the reality. And all of us have gone through these mistakes, which is nice to show that we all make the same mistakes. But thank you for reiterating that yes, you need to have an edge and you need to test it because if not, like you're just kind of like out there, just like guessing is what I feel like. You're just like, maybe
True.
this, maybe that.
The way
And
I'd want to
then
deliver it is that you are learning a skill. Trading is a skill. So you would not go and try to fix somebody's car on your first YouTube video of a car thing, like at a service shop. You wouldn't be allowed to cut open a body live at a hospital on your first day or first week or first month reading a medical book. You have to learn the skill before you pick up capital and use it to trade with.
yeah,
And that's really the important thing.
yeah, I agree. I think we all
There's
agree on that.
I mean, that's how we're gonna wrap it up because I mean it's just a good quote to end on. I'm a big fan of analogies like that hit home. But guys, that concludes season 2, episode 8 with Jeremy. Jeremy, I really appreciate your time.
Thank
It has
you.
been a pleasure. It was really cool seeing your process, guys. It really is this simple. It's just you need to stick to the rules that you set for yourself. So stick to those, make your rules and stick to them. Happy trading and stay safe, guys. Peace.
Bye, guys.